welcome to another session with Leverage TV. I am Priyank Jain, Vice President with Leverage Edu. And I'm going to talk about a very interesting topic today. And now that we are almost on the onset of fall intake for higher education abroad, this is a very important topic to kind of cover and talk about. So what are the top few questions in visa interviews? And I'll focus this session today on just visa interviews with UKVI mainly because with USA and Canada, most of the visas or visa interviews have already happened. So I think what is the process, what is going on is just the UKVI process. So I'm going to just talk about for the students who are planning to go in UK for their higher studies and what kind of questions they can expect in the visa interview. How should they prepare for these questions in the visa interviews? When can they expect to kind of get the visa interviews, and how likelihood or what are the chances for them to clear this visa? So I'll try to kind of help you answer all of this, but let me just start with understanding the visa process. I'll just take first few minutes to kind of explain the visa process for UK, which is very, very simple. In fact, one of the fastest student visa process if you compare it with Canada and USA. So you have to fill a form, you have to go to their website, make an application, fill a form, and in an odd chance, you get an interview to talk about your objective of going there. So primarily, what do they check if they call you for a visa interview? They check for your genuinity, whether you have done enough research on where you're going, how you're planning to kind of use these studies, how you're planning to fund your education, and whether you're going to kind of add value once you go there. So are you actually going there for studies, or is it just a pathway to emigrate out of India? So those are the kind of things that they check as an objective for doing these visa interviews. So first and foremost, I think you should be very, very clear about why you're going to UK for your higher education. And this is mostly the first question that might come in your visa interview. Why have you selected UK? And you need to be clear about your decision-making process. You need to be clear about UK education system, its implication if you're going from India, how can that be used in India or in UK itself? So the practical and vote approach involved with this. And I'm sure a lot of you, while taking a decision on the country where you want to go, you must have done a fair research. You must have compared how UK is, let's say, compared to any other country. So this is what they want to check. Why have you selected UK as a study destination compared to any other country? So the way to kind of prepare for this interview is actually back it up with the research. So what are the steps that you have taken for the decision taking, including the kind of universities, courses, costs involved, job prospects and opportunities, the economy. So you should talk about all of this when you're answering this visa question. The second question that usually come up is your choice of university. Why have you selected, let's say, University A versus University B? So that is usually another question that is very, very common in any of the visa interviews. Why are you selecting, let's say, University of Sheffield, or why are you selecting University of Liverpool? So you should have done enough research again to back it up. What is the process of you applying to different university? Why have you selected University A versus B or C? How does that in terms of, let's say, again, the cost, in terms of the city it is situated in terms of the prospects after that particular university? What's so special about this university versus the other university that you didn't select? So it shouldn't just be a very, very generic answer that this university is QS rank 20 or QS rank 50. It should be a personalized answer. Why have you selected this university versus any other university? Why does it make sense for you to go to this university versus any other university? So make sure when you're answering these questions, these answers are very, very specific to you, very personalized to you, and not just a very generic answers in terms of their rankings, in terms of their kind of campus, etc. So just try to contextualize it for yourself when you're answering about these questions, like why UK or why particular university. The next question usually is, uh, why did you choose this particular course to do, and how does it help in how does it help it in your career progression? So again, this is a very important question for them to check the genuinity of your student application, of whether your objective really is to go to UK and studies, or is it just because you want to kind of go and take a shot at immigration. So that is, again, you need to be very thorough and very diligent with your answer here on what was your process of choosing this particular course. How will this subject area skills that you will acquire after doing a particular course will help in your career progression? How does this course kind of align with whatever you have done till date? So let's say you've done your bachelor's in commerce or bachelor's in technology. How doing this particular course, let's say if you are going for a course in MSc accounting or MSc finance, if you've done your bachelor's in commerce, need to kind of explain how this course is a career progression for you after doing your BCom. Or if you've done your bachelor's of technology, if you're going for an MTech in computer science in the same field, how does that add as a progression? So you should be able to explain this of why have you selected this course. You need to talk about a specific course curriculums that you really like about this course. Why have you selected course from this particular university again versus some of the other course? And why have you selected, let's say, this course in this particular university versus some other course in this particular university? So you need to be very thorough when you are preparing for this answer. And some of the preparation that you need to do here is, again, does this after what are your plans after doing this particular course? So what are the jobs that you can expect from this particular course? What are the roles and organization that hires for this particular course? What are the alumni doing for this particular course? So these are the kind of things that you should research and you should kind of think about when you are preparing for an answer, that why do you want to study this, and what are your what are your plans after doing this particular course, and how does it progress in your careers? So the next thing that they're definitely going to check is, how do you plan to fund your education, and B, how do you plan to kind of use that investment? So does that investment in the studies make sense for you or not, given your financial condition or your family's financial condition? So again, you need to know each and every bit of the detail around this. So let's say if your the preparation should include that if you have submitted the proof of finance or some sponsorship. So why is a particular person or an organization kind of sponsoring your education? How are you going to kind of repay or make sense or add value for that particular organization for after this sponsorship? So you need to be clear about your source of funding, both for your tuition fees as well as the living fees. So that is, again, one of the most important questions in any visa interview, where a considerable amount of time goes into talking about how are you planning to fund your education, how are you planning to make use of the education to repay this loan, and what is your financial condition overall. So a question also could be, how are you planning to kind of manage your living expenses? So ideally you should be able to kind of have a good enough answer which gives them the confidence that you might not need to work part-time there, and just refrain from getting a lot in depth in how you are planning to do a part-time work to fund your education. And even if you do, you need to be aware about the nuances. So let's say, how many hours of work in a week is allowed as a part-time if you're going for a master's program or a bachelor's program? How many, what are the what is the wage rate like per hour or per day? So you need to be clear about all these aspects. And more than that, you need to kind of tell them that this part-time that you're going to do will add an equal amount of value in your education as well. So if you're planning to do an apprenticeship with one of your professors or in any of your college research project, how this will add value to your education or your course curriculum as well. So that is also one of the most important aspect that you need to kind of talk about when you are asked this question. Another thing they're going to talk about is, do you plan to work in UK? So, how are you planning to kind of, what are your plans uh, after completing your graduation or post graduation from UK? So you need to be again prepared about how have you thought about your career path. So you need to have done a lot of research about the prospect of that particular course, of that particular degree, and what are the kind of companies that could hire. Are there enough countries, are there enough companies that are available in that particular uh, town or geography for your level of jobs, and how does that investment again that you are putting for your education make sense. So those are the things that you again need to talk about for these sessions. Apart from that, one very basic thing that you need to prepare for the interview is and if you are going from India, and since the first language is not English, you need to be very well versed in English, because the mode of education in UK will be English, and they will need to check how will you manage your studies and you stay there, uh, where the country and the speakers will primarily be having conversation in English. So you need to be well versed in spoken English primarily, and this will make a huge impact in your interview, during the interview. So if your language skills are not that great, if your English speaking skills are not that great, you need to probably brush them up. You need to kind of prepare them, and before showing up for the interview, because this uh, plays a huge role. Even if you are prepared with all the answers, even if you've done all the research, but if you're not that great in spoken English, there could be a chance where your visa might get rejected. So recapping what all we've talked about is, you need to be very sure about the funding of your education and the financing of your education. How does it make sense for you to do this degree at this point? How does it make sense for you to kind of do this course from an investment perspective? How do you plan to fund your stay and tuition fees there? You need to be very thorough about the course that you are selecting for and the kind of career progression that you'll get. And then you need to be very thorough about the country and the university that you are selecting for that particular course. So these are the things that are primarily checked in a UKVI interview, and it's a very simple interview. If you've done some bit of research on your own, or even if you've kind of uh, done your application through any of the consultants. So there needs to be a decision making process. So you need to just explain that decision making process to them, and they will be convinced for that. So that is it from me today. All the best for your interviews. All the best for your next steps on your education. Uh, we'll see you soon in another session. Till then, goodbye.